I'd like to say that I appreciate you being somebody that was there for me when I got my rut and dealt with solving my problems with my kids. And the thing I remember about you the most is the fact that every time I had something to talk to you about, you always had a story to tell about, whether it was a personal experience or about your family. And I really appreciate you being here.
Hi, Bill. This is Frances Rector. I'd just like to take a moment to wish you all the luck in the world. And thank you for being so nice to me every time I came to your store. I really appreciate it. Good luck.
How you doing? Mr. Perry, do not realize how hard this is for me because I am not a one-on-one person. I am not a conversationalist, but I feel like I do know a lot of things. You've been a great manager. I hate to see you do this, but anytime you guys, anybody that's come to the store, higher up in Kroger, and you walk them around the store, you've always made it a point to stop at my check stand. I appreciate that. I want to tell you now that we're no longer employees, we're no longer boss and clerk, we're now friends, and I'm going to miss you for you.
All day today driving around, I've been trying to think of some things I can say make a lot of sense and something real nice. I just really couldn't come up with anything. So I just wanted to say best of luck. But in all seriously, Bill, throughout my career, you have been one of the finest store managers I've ever worked with. You're an excellent job, you're gentleman, you're excellent with people, you're an excellent organizer. I just don't have anything bad to say. And I'm sincerely going to miss you. I wish you and Rhonda the best in the world. Best of luck in your new adventure. I'll say that. Thanks.
Mr. Perry, this is Betty, and as you can see, and I just want to say that it's been wonderful to have worked for you, and you just don't know, it's been such a special privilege, and you're one of the special people in my life that I felt we really understood each other, and you get the opportunity to do things that I would have never had the opportunity to do. And I've missed you since you've been gone from Hot Springs, and I'll miss you. I always consider you and your family my friends, and just thank you for everything you've ever done for me. You're a wonderful person. Just keep that smile and keep going. Mr. Perry, I just want to tell you how much I appreciated working with you and how nice you were to me while you were there, and I wish you the best and everything. After you make your first million, you can help me make mine. Congratulations. Mr. Perry, I just want to say that it's a real pleasure working with you. The years that I worked with you were some of the best of my Kroger career, and I'll never forget you, and I hope you won't forget me. I always consider you a very special friend.
Thank you for getting a job. I miss you a lot. Good luck. Good job.
God bless you.
God bless you.
Hi, Mr. Perry. We're always together here again. Say goodbye to you. Mr. Perry, we're going to miss you. I can't talk really well about this, but we love you. She told me to say goodbye, so I guess this is it. Don't ever forget me. This is Shirley Cole, okay? Bye.
Congratulations, Bill. I just found found out a few days ago that you was hanging it up, but I tell you what, there is life after Kroger. And some of these days when you're not doing anything, and down in South Arkansas, be sure to come by and see old Bill. I'd like to say again, congratulations. You've earned it and you deserve it. Hope you enjoy it.
Hey, Mr. Craig. First I call you Bill. Call you Bill. As you say, I didn't shave. I don't know what else to say other than now I got to train a new man. I thought I about had you trained, but it looks like I'm going to have to do it all over again. So, you've been a super good boss, and almost good enough to go sell used cars to leave Kroger, but not quite. We'll be seeing you around. I appreciate everything you've done for me. Thanks a lot.
Okay. Mr. Perry, I have fond memories of working with you at Kroger. I know that you treat your customers and the business that you're going to be involved in completely, that you treat them as well as you've treated me through the years. No doubt in my mind that you'll be a great success. I know that this is just an old cliche, but it's something from my heart. I really believe that Kroger will miss people like you, and it's been a real joy and a pleasure to know you. You've made me a better employee as good as you were. Wish you well in your new endeavor. Mr. Perry, tonight I have got to find out two things. Number one, why we always meet on the highway on my way to work when I'm running late. And the other is when I do beat you to work, when I run through the door, you was right there at the office. I got to figure those two things out, okay? Wish you luck, best wishes. Hope you do real well. Hate to see you gone. We'll talk to you sometime.
I want a car. We got a new rule.
Red.
had a lot of business, and in retailing. Then on January the 3rd, 1982, Bill was Fast Annie in Hot Springs. A lot of history of Fast Annie over there, because Bill introduced up their store, got some well with it, that doubled the size of the store, and I don't know how Bill ever made it through and still has any hair. I've been through a lot of remodels over my day, but other than 582, that was, I guess, the bad one, the worst one I've ever been through. Thanks to Bill and his people, you know, Bill deserves a lot of credit. Bill's a gentleman, he's a good family man, he's a good person. He's a people person when it comes to employees and handling them, and he certainly is a very customer relations man as I've ever worked with. We got a lot of guys sitting in this room that fall into that same category. Kroger's noted for its good people and good store managers and all, to make good people as well as good people to be better. I think we can say without any question that Bill and his people have got to get the right thing in Hot Springs. And what caused Hot Springs to be where it is today. They all needed to build a new store, remodel the store, go to 590 and build a new store here. So, Bill, you've worked with a lot of people over the years. We've had 15 years. We've seen a lot of people move up. You've been instrumental in a lot of people's lives. I enjoyed the time I worked immensely, and all I've got to say is you're a great guy. I wish you and your family a lot of success.
Ceremonies and everything where we honor people at the company. We've had 300 people promoted, move on up throughout the company, and those people that worked for 30, 40 years retired. But I ain't never been to a party where we honor the man who's paid. I was trying to remember the other day, when I first met Bill, I guess it was 15th Cereal Panama Market. I was in the store there wandering around one day, saw this young man come up the aisle, his pants rolled hanging down the side, and I thought, God, he's back in the door. But it was, he said it was a key. He must have had the keys to the city jail. I wanted to afflict him a little bit every time I see him out, he's kind of walking. But Bill and I worked together, I guess the first time we did, both times we worked together since Hot Springs. And I guess you'd say we had pretty much a normal working relationship, particularly for the family back there. Him trying to see how much smoke he could blow in my nose every day. Me trying to figure out how much I could get to get by. But that goes for a whole lot of people when I look around at them. Not only did we have boss-employee relationship, but we've had a very personal relationship. I know how difficult it was for him to make a decision to give up his job and move on to something else. But he made the decision. I want to wish him well.
person to work for. He's a neatness freak. I'm messy. And I just want everybody to know that he's the greatest person I ever knew and easy to work for, and I'm happy that he's given a chance to do something else, and I'm really thankful for his time.
After Mr. Perry, 590, he had a real short special assignment, and his title was Deli Bakery Merchandiser / Specialist. For 2 months. And then he was assigned to 615 when they opened 616, and he was assigned to 615 on November the 4th of 1990. And so now, these are the employees that were probably there in 1990, and a lot of us are wishing him well now. And the very first one we're going to bring up here is going to be Buddy Presley. Yes,
I'm supposed to introduce the servant. Please bet ran off. The neatness is kind of watch Evan shades. Watch him and he'll start cleaning his tape. We had a company come in the store with partner Phil. Anything in the upstairs office, just end up in the shop.
or worse.
Oh, it was great. Yeah. When he first came over there, we used a more aggressive management style. Mary come up, you guys have a question, said, what do you do? And most of the time, most of the Kroger managers didn't want you to think, they just wanted you to do what they told you. So I always thought he was kind of being smart at it. They kind of got off rough at first. He kept saying, well, you know, the girl back at 590 used to always put all this stuff through. She went lots of time. But this went on for about 2 weeks. And I said, you can't do this in 40 hours. Yeah, you can't, girl, 590 does. So after 2 weeks, I said, well, bring the girl to 590. She came over, worked 2 days with me. And I'm kind of basically pretty lazy, so I figured out most of the shortcuts. And I showed her a couple of things. I got to ask her how she managed, and she told me where the seat was. I said, well, you need to go in the office. She said, well, Mary, so we go in there, and Mary's everything's going well. We get 2 pretty good days. And I said, well, Karen, now, pretty how you got everything done. Well, I never got all done, I just told you I got it done. All right. You heard about every single speech. I never had any control powers after that. Except it never came up. He wrote a last will and testament. He probably didn't remember it, but it's been real rough on him last week. He's been going around and, you know, he's metamorphosizing into a car salesman. He's walking around the corners and you hear him when it was only driven on Sunday. Yeah, that's a lot of miles, but they're highway miles. They all make that noise. This is some of the things he leads to. Okay. Number 1 is he leaves his camp shoes to the new manager so everybody can hear him coming. Mary has a real distinctive walk. If he comes in early in the night stock cruise out, when he walks by, they all look up because they think it's a woman in high heels. They look back down. Also, there's a couple. All the ugly guys, this is one of them. Leroy Smith.
But they're cheap time.
Yeah, but of course Leroy's not here, he's out with the skirt. Making his delegation of responsibility this time. And if you'll notice, when she leans forward, she's starting to get a little bald spot. He's leaving his computer skills to Tony, who does our... His worn out desk chair goes to Bobby Harper. Worn out, he sits there. His inspection of clean-shaven faces. This is what they're paid. Clean-shaven faces goes to Kathy Gray. He can spot, we've got upstairs office. That upstairs office, he can spot a checker or a sacker he hadn't shaved. Good eyes. Hey, y'all know this is your shaving thing. It's got to. Also, I noticed that. His grinning face goes to Mr. Hendricks. You get a 30,000-mile warranty for that. Right. It's handwritten. His stock and mop heads and bleach, cleaning under the front, goes to Earl. Okay, his coughing, sneezing, and allergy shots go to Jonathan on the front end. Rearranging an office to get to me. Now this is going to be the only guy that he's got 2 days left to act as a coach. And he completely redoes that upstairs office. I leave for 12 hours and I come back, everything's done, everything's in boxes. I still haven't found all of it. Plugs the computer.
I promise, nothing got thrown away. So I put everything in boxes.
If he'd been here another 6 months, I think we'd be crazy places would be the bank or pharmacy. Oh, his alarm clock and ability to be at work on time, Carol Boswell. His final endowment is now this is a guy that brought, he brought computers to 615. We were serious now. He brought really helped paperwork a lot. But he brought a 1980. It should be 19. And he has refused to replace it about a month ago. We have records. We only got a huge state-of-the-art computer. Like 19 years old. He leads on it. The computer goes to the Museum of Science and History. We put back into the time capsule where it can be opened. This is what we have. We have something here about
You didn't have to make it rid of me. In fact, this picture doesn't work. He's my teacher salary.
Well,
there, Stephanie Fraser. Come on up, Stephanie.
All these ball jokes you were giving out, she gave me a wig. Wasn't on hers, not this time.
What's doing here?
Betty, it might fit you.
I gave you one.
You never had to talk to Mr. Perry, you know, he just can't tell you. He has to draw it for you. Okay? So I figured, when it was time for him to go tell Mr. Hendricks that he was resigning, he had to write it out for you, okay? So we figured that we made this up. This is Bill Perry's resignation in detail. And, let's see, we assumed he went into Mr. Hendricks' office, that he's no longer with Kroger. He's going to be traveling down Congo exit, down on military, assume employment now. And we want to know that harvest is off limits. And then he signed it, Bill Perry. Here's your resignation, and I'm sure that you do. The other thing, I think you got the wrong path. I've gone to different sides. This other one is a recent event in your life. And I know your daughter could be. And I remember one day at lunch when we all ran into the hospital has been on vacation. But you were just appalled. Amber had called you. I mean, a tattoo on her toe. Well, of course he said no, but Amber's been off in Colorado all summer, and she wants to send me a picture for her. She has tattooed her toe. This picture, love Amber.
For those of you who don't know, Amber does not have a tattoo.
But she might have. She might have. Okay, Bobby Harper, Rudy. You go first, and he's gonna get something.
Oh, okay. Well, as we all know, almost is the wrong thing. We all know, Mr. Perry been real fine. He and I had a real good understanding. You know, he ran the store with style, grace, sneaking and sneaking out. Things I never really figured out. I come to work down South Florida and I have to pay at 4:30. Now, a lot of people have a nerve to say I be late every now and then. But I'm glad they mentioned Carol now. I wasn't late, I just cut it close. So I could come down South Florida and I had to pass the 4:30 cutoff. And when I'm cutting it close on those mornings, every time Mr. Perry is right behind me. I think he sits under the underpants like a trooper, maybe like a hold on there, you know, cutting it close, I mean, right behind me. So he gets behind me, get the flashing and the lights, and I get scared because it's a different car every time. White car, black car. So I have a head start coming down that hill, and Bob know my cat will run, you know. So I hit it, you know, and I head to the parking lot. He goes round through the shopping center there. So I said, couldn't this man, that must be Mr. Perry. So I run to the parking lot, jump out of the car, so whatever, run across the parking lot. By that time, he's about to go blowing his horn. I never figured that out. And on the other times, I'm cutting it close. I don't see him at the underpass. I got to go look under there every morning. So I go get on, I come on to work, I'm fine, you know, looking at my watch. I'm looking late, but that's all right, I'll beat it. I come to the bathtub door, and there he is.
Another morning, I tried to come in like a regular customer. Well, sometimes you turn around and see me again. I really have to figure that out, but I was on a good pace there, for a couple of months. I was cutting it close again. So I was coming to work, and I didn't see him. I said, dog, I bet you gonna be back there, dog. So I finally figured out the trick. He wasn't here long enough to figure out what I did. I would run into the basket doors. I ran to see if I really didn't see him. I said, I ain't gonna take no chance. I ran all the way around the building, came through the back door. That's it.
This little race has been going on for 3 years.
It's cutting it close for 3 years. I was making it 7:07.
Mr. Harper, it's your turn.
I wasn't really prepared to talk. I just want to say it's been a pleasure working with you. On behalf of the stock crew, we've got a little something here for you. We want to give you to make sure that you are successful in your new career. We feel like this might help someone. There's no grocery. Anyway, Miss Lowe's got it right here if you want it.
This is from the whole stock.
No, we feel like it'll be useful.
Mr. Reddick told me every good grocery man carries one. Did y'all hear his remark? He wanted to know what I was doing.
There's 2 things in there, though. So we want to be real successful. How many kids are doing that? That's a small jar.
That's as slick as hair back.
That's how he wants to go at it. Pull it out.
This is something Bobby's been promising. Bill Perry now.
Well, it's just been a standard joke. Plaid jackets, loud jackets, used car salesmen. We thought it'd been from. But anyway. Well, we'll figure it out.
Next we have Mr. Hendricks, who wants to follow along behind that show.
I'm not going to sit up here and tell all the lies like these guys, but how great this guy is. No, I'm only lying. My career with the Kroger Company, which is my draw trip for 40 years. I've never worked with a better store in this country. He's top. Wonderful person, people, wonderful customers, as we said. I even had stores telephone. If you work for me, Hot Springs, I'm doing the 615. I think you people will take a get him. I know you're glad to see him go. I'm like Charlie. I've never been to a party where everybody showed up and somebody go, so I don't know Bill if they like it, if they want to leave. I love you. But anyway, Bill Perry's an example for an awful lot of young people. There's some people back here tonight, so I can say how great you are. But in all sincerity, Bill Perry is one of the finest guys I've ever met. Or not, way
customers, people, his family, I don't wish him long to. If you get hungry, call us, we'll let Bill Sack or who's on the way. They gave you a coat. That's indicates your car. Now, 2 or 3 other things that go along with it. You gotta have this, because you can't wear a coat and sell a car without that. No. You want my parking lot back here? Don't be that. This is when they're trying to leave. Even within what we're talking about here in Carter, it's awful hot this time of year. You're going to be out there a lot in this coat, and you're going to have to change it. We want you to try that on for the summertime work. One of your real good friends says that.
Everybody knows, how Miss Perry is, she's just wonderful with our customers, and so we're gonna have Jonathan be Miss Perry, and I'm gonna be playing customer. I have a complaint. I'd like to see a store manager. I was in here last week, and I have this kiss on it, and it's fire, and I still want to make it up. That is all crushed, totally crushed. Well, that's not, the point is...
How about maybe a case of Coke?
Case of Coke is not going to get no, ice cream's not going to get me. That's not the point. The point is that my bread was crushed, everything was crushed in the back, my tomatoes were down at the bottom, and this bag of let me see, what'd you say now? Cokes, ice cream, and
How about some T-bones? You want some T-bones too? We'll give you some T-bones too. We'll have to make cut carpet. Cut all the fat off.
T-bone for a turkey for the rest of my life here, do you?
Oh, sure. You want your order for free today?
I heard that this morning. That's why I'm coming in here. Well, I just want to tell you that, I'm glad to meet you, because, I come in here and I never see you. I never see you. I don't know where you are. Every time I come in here, you're out to lunch. I mean, now, I've been in here, this is the fourth time.
Sorry, I
1,
missed you,
2, 3, 4.
I'm here all the time.
Now, where are you?
I'm upstairs in the office.
I never
The
see you.
supervisor's door from the upstairs.
But I'm down here. I don't see you gagging, I don't see you anyplace. I hear tap, 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 tap. I don't see you. I mean, no,
Well, let's finish checking out your groceries today, and you don't have to write a check for it, and I will take the groceries out and carry them out to your car for you.
and I'll get all that other stuff.
I know that.
Oh, okay, that's good. Okay, thank you very much.
Now we've got Richard Hawkins, and I promised him that he could stay at the back of the room at his table, and he wouldn't have to come up to the front. And when they'll all turn around and look at you, it's like, you didn't tell me that.
I didn't know you were going to call me, but I'm glad you did. I'll just say Mr. Perry is one of the best store managers I've worked for in 18 years. There's a lot of good ones in town that could none of them be here tonight. Mr. Perry, I don't know why Mr. Hendricks sent you all the trouble with church. You got Floyd, you got Ron Adams, you got Calvin, you got me, but you do her. But it's like a rehabilitation program. That's all I got.
We've got somebody really special with us. I want to make sure everybody meets her. This is Rosemary Burke Carroll, right here, and her daughter Krista, right? I got the first part right. And Rosemary is an art teacher at Parkview High School. She and her art students are the ones who've been decorating our windows ever since probably February of last year. Every time the seasons change, she brings her art students out. And in exchange for this, we get the best end of the deal. We give them just store supplies like styrofoam cups, toothpicks, bleach, and we provided an arrangement for their banquet. And in exchange for these few small things, we get that beautiful artwork all during the year. And we appreciate her so much. And she was kind enough to come. We have all learned to love Rosemary. We got a customer, I think. We see her in our store all the time now. But anyway, she has something she wants to say to Mr. Perry.
I have a couple of things. First off, every time I come in there, everybody's always so friendly. And I don't know if you exactly know why I came in there the first time, but one of your competitions, a young fellow, retired. And so I lost my kind of contact. And I had my students to draw the actual items when possible, so I came in and asked the people in produce what they did with their leftover stuff. And so, because the other manager had gone from one of your competitions, and I thought, well, y'all were closer to Parkview, and that I could come in and ask. So that's how I really came into your store. And I went down the produce aisle, and I forgot the young lady I talked to, and I said something to her, and I said, you know, if you'll give me this, and the apples and the lemons and the oranges and all that, I'll have my students to paint them, and then I'll bring them back and put them in the store, so your customers can see. And she said, oh, I know Mr. Perry would love that. So I didn't meet him the first time, but I did contact Ms. Hug, and I found out that y'all left the produce late at night, and so the next morning I was early there and I got a just little roasting of everything, set it up for my students to draw, and some of you probably did see the artwork that my students did. So, and I sent out a little newsletter to the parents, and I know some of the parents came in. My principal even came in because his name was on the board. But that's how I kind of have adopted y'all, and y'all have adopted us, even though we're not your partners in education. Your Parkview has really appreciated being able to work with you. So we have something from Parkview that we want to give you. That's a little certificate And it just says, "We salute you, Bill Perry, for being a #1 Kroger manager on this day, the 12th of July, 1995, Parkview Art Science Day at Rosemary Park Hill."
Thank you, Rosemary. For those of you that don't know, Rosemary and her students are responsible for that dragon that was in the front entrance. It was on display at Cook Convention Center in Memphis also.
By the way, when I was working on the dragon in the back, I had a blue apron on. I came out front, and as I was walking down, somebody said, "Can you tell me where the green beans are?"
Thank you, Rosemary.
Rosemary's students, we sent I guess they were pretty good apples, oranges, and we didn't give her the wrinkled old ones. We gave her a little bit, everything that she wanted. She came in and she set it up for her students. And then she brought in huge matted boards full of these still life pictures, and they were beautiful. And we hung them in the photos department in that curve, and they were on display for probably a month. And we did get a lot of really, really great comments from that, and we appreciate her so much. She really added to the look of our store. Before people ever get in the front door, they got a good impression of us because of all the artwork on the windows. And we really do appreciate you, Rosemary. Thanks.
Thank you.
Okay, next we've got Shirley Zippo. Shirley?
That's right, yeah, that's right. Been doing my job for 40 years. Mr. Perry, on behalf of the employees of 615, I would like to present to you this plaque. And I'm not going to draw these. And I had to open it. I can't open it again. I didn't laugh about this all night, so I'm like, good for you, I'm not going to open this. And then I would probably draw it. Appreciation for all the wonderful things that you've done for us. Thank you.
Phone number on speed dial, so I can call you.
Thank you all very much for this. It'll be hanging on my wall right where I'm sitting at the car lot. So I'm very proud of it. And for any of you that didn't see this is gold cross pins with my name engraved on them, and I'll use them every day. Thank you very much.
Okay, Kim Carter's next.
Well, I know you've all heard how Mr. Perry lives his school away, but I had an opportunity one time to witness totally the opposite. He's going to kill me. He's totally going to kill me. Speak up. Okay. One time this gentleman, this older gentleman, and I guess
Yeah, you have to come up here, Kim, maybe. Yeah, stay in the middle.
older gentleman, I
We
guess.
don't want to tell this one, Kim. I'm going to.
Anyway, this older gentleman comes in the store, and I didn't know it, but I guess he gives Mr. Perry a hard time. And they called me up to the front for a customer complaint. So this guy was in here, and he had a bag of Snickers and a bag of Milky Ways. Well, it was after Halloween or something, we had a lot of Milky Ways left, so we had them marked down. But he wanted the Snickers for the price of the Milky Ways. And I already explained to him, yeah, they were on sale, and the Snickers were, and all this stuff. So he wanted to talk to Bill. He said, "Where's Bill?" So I called Mr. Perry up there, and I explained the situation to him. And he told this guy the same thing. He said, these aren't on sale, but these are. So he started telling me how maybe market prices were better than ours. All this stuff. And so Mr. Perry, after arguing with him for a few minutes, asking him what he could do to make it better and all this. Finally, he took the candy and he put it back on the display, and he told this guy, he said, "Well, you can just go to Maple Place and do your shopping." I started laughing, took his buggy and started shopping.
true story. A week later, he came back and he apologized to me.
Kevin, where's Kevin? Kevin, did you want to add anything?
Yeah, I guess that's it.
Okay. Put up in our store, so he had to be here, he's one of us.
Sorry, what I mean.
I want to come in and sure I want to remember when a couple came in, and I went down and I had temporary there, and thrown out coat and sent one, and the only couple of them walking to the sixth one, and I was kind of bumped against the old guy, and he tried to break his fall, we didn't have nothing to catch but his wife. I saw her, both of them kind of fell back on the floor and everything, and Terry kind of followed me and everything, and then we going, I'm panicking, kind of scared to come to the store. I think he'll probably kick me out or something. Alright, so, me and Terry got to talk about it and everything, and like I said, everybody was alright, and good to say that folk got followed and stuff, and they were alright and everything, but it was kind of fun. Like I said, I thought I'd never be in some store again. And I guess a couple of them displays fall and everything, but Perry been real patient with me, and ripped out a lot of things that work for me and all that. I really appreciate it. So, Mitchell, appreciate it. Thanks.
To that Coke story. This was a couple that could barely get around. They had to be, 70s, early 80s, and they were making their way through the store, and it wasn't Kevin, it was another Coke vendor. The way I understand it, because I wasn't there either, was pulling that and backing out of the doors, and he backed gently into the old man. And the old man, like he said, it was like dominoes, and he went back on the old lady, and the old lady went back, and she fell on the floor, he fell on top of her, and they were both taken to the hospital by ambulance. He was a possible heart attack, and she was something else. It turned out they're both fine, but anyway, it was the ultimate customer accident. It was pretty bad. They were both fine.
By the way,
2 cases.
By the way, for those of you who don't realize it, Andy got to meet his wife tonight in person instead of on video. Did y'all know that story? About Kevin had a new baby. Hold that baby.
Yeah, hold that baby down.
And he delivered the camera there to the store so that he's showing off this camera where everyone can see his newborn baby. And he says, Andy, would you like to see my new baby? And he says, sure. So he's looking in there, and next thing you know, Andy says, well, that's a pretty baby, but your wife sure is pretty.
Okay, speaking of Andy, it's time for Andy to come up here. Stand right here, Andy. Andy is one of our very best employees in our store. He's always there on time, never sick. He's one of the best baggers that we have, and we are proud of Andy, and we all love Andy. And I know Mr. Perry does, and he has something he wants to tell Mr. Perry.
David,
Yes, sir.
thank you for giving me my job. I'm the chief lawyer. I've been up my job. I don't know what I'm going to tell about you. This is done with me. The middle store. I stopped here to him talking that he is Christmas. He talking. I will him talking at Christmas. And the more people stop more bosses talking same thing. doing.
Okay.
And, you know, love this man all my life.
Andy, you're pretty sad.
Okay, who have I missed? Who wants to say something? We've got Delton Calhoun here, and I want to recognize him. I'd like for Delton to come up and tell us how his retirement's going at the very least. He's worked with Bill, and all of us here in the store. We miss you, Delton. Thanks for coming.
I was wondering why you was talking about those people at 65 and 70 years old. My wife said that because she said, watch your mouth. I have some fond memories of all the store managers that I worked with through the years, and I worked with a bunch of them too. All of them were different in different ways. Of course, they have to be a little bit different. But I guess I'll remember Mr. Perry most of all because, Mr. Perry, you were my last store manager. Now, I'll tell you some of the things about Mr. Perry that I didn't find in other store managers, and I'm a little surprised that here in this store that you get mad and Devin won't play. I never saw Mr. Perry mad in my whole entire time that I worked with him. I've seen him discouraged, I've seen him kind of nip, but I never saw him mad. The other thing that I appreciate about Mr. Perry was that he was always so encouraging. He'd see you complimentary, he'd see you doing just little things. You know, it didn't matter if it just wiping off the counter or something like that. He'd come by and he'd always tell you how good a job he was doing. You know, it's not real hard just to wipe off the counter, but he'd tell you what a good job you were doing. Always complimentary. He was a professional. Mr. Perry is a professional. And he knew his job, but he got along with people so well. And Mr. Perry, I know that this is not a cliche, but Kroger will miss people like you. I miss you, and I wish you the very best on your day. Thank you, Mr. Bill.
Did I see David White come in? David?
No, Sheila, go ahead.
Okay, Sheila, go
I'm gonna stay right
ahead.
here though.
Okay.
I guess I'm one of the few people that have seen Mr. Perry very angry. I never went to Mr. Perry unless I had a problem that was really, really hard. I had one employee at one time that had threatened another employee to kick her tail. So I called for Mr. Perry, I always would. So we went upstairs with, his name was Quincy. He sat down and he talked to Quincy about what he had done. And he gave Quincy, he was always compassionate, he would always give you another chance. That's one thing about Perry that's true. He gave Quincy an opportunity to apologize to the young lady. He wouldn't do it. Mr. Perry had already written him up, you know, for threatening her. A light right up. So when Quincy sat there and he looked down and he just refused to apologize, Perry backed up in his chair, he picked up the write-up, held it up just like this and told him, he's all right, Quincy. He started writing. He said, as of right now, you're on, what is it? What do you call it?
Disciplinary suspension.
Notification, and it was so funny. But I just want to say I enjoyed working with you because you always made me feel like I was a part of everything that was happening, not that I worked for you. I just want to
Thank you,
David? Who else? You won't leave anybody else?
I got one.
Okay.
I was in his office, I think it was yesterday, for the little lecture I gave him. Well, here's the story. 3 years ago, I was going to quit Kroger. I went out, got me another job, 40 hours, was going to quit, turned in my 2-week notice. This man calls me to the office to talk me out of it, and he did. He told me that he couldn't go out and give up security and give up a future and give up a new job. Pulling a wall, okay? And I stayed. And I moved on, and I've done real well. And I don't think you can blow me away from Kroger now. Please quit. So, I go to his office yesterday, and I gave him the exact same letter. And although it didn't change his mind, I wish it had. I still appreciate all that you have done for me, and I'm definitely going to miss you.
Thank you.
Yes.
I'd like to say something.
Okay.
Mr. Perry, I only known you for about a year. But where I come from, it was like the manager wasn't right. So I was convinced that almost every manager was like that. I'm not gonna let it. Anyway, when I got over 615, and I met you, and had a few acquaintances with you, close acquaintances, and man, I want to thank you for listening to me, because you just didn't shove me aside, and as Sheila said, you believe in giving a second chance, and I can vouch for that. But I want to say to you, it's been the best year since I've been at Kroger, working for you.
Am I going to get a chance to rebuttal something? Yes. Coming up quickly now. Yes, Carol.
I too am a transfer from another store, and I love Dino Managers. I just want to say that it was a pleasure. I had surgery at one time and never, ever, ever had a manager.
About the way I handle customers. I will never forget one day when he just wasn't going to convince me that I was wrong and the customer was right. And he said, I want to tell you something. He said, other than Deborah McCoy, I have never had as many customer complaints on an employee as you do. I still work for Kroger, and having worked with Deborah McCoy, that says a lot.
Anybody else?
I got something just to tell you.
Okay.
Well, and I just have one thing. That's probably around the 1st of May, and I talked to Mr. Perry several times. I said, well, I was thinking about buying a car. And Mr. Perry said, well, Joe, you plan on trading your car, or what, you going to sell it yourself? And I would say, well, I was planning on selling it and just try to get a better deal. He would say, well, Joe, I'll offer you top dollar. I said, I've got a few problems with that car. And I was, I was afraid that I said, man, if I sit on in that car, if something happens to it, I'll lose my job. So, anyway, the day came down to it, and so I sold him my car, and I told him what was wrong with it. And he would say, well, and what's really wrong with it? And I said, well, I've had a transmission leak on that car for 3 years, and I've had it fixed. And he said, well, Joe, don't worry. When I buy it, the car's my problem. Well, I came to work the next day. Mr. Perry just came up to me and said, well, Joe, you know what? When I was driving that car back through the lot, the transmission went out. The first thing, and I've worked for Mr. Perry since he came to Kroger's, and I've always thought him being just an honest man. And I thought, God, I said, he's not lying, I'm gonna lose my job. So, I still want to know, Mr. Berry, were you being serious or were you just kidding?
You still got your job, though. He knows too much.
I met her back when you first started. Y'all seen the side of in the store. There's a different side. I'll show you what it looks like. That's what it is. Did your wife ever see a video of her fishing?
No. Nor is she going to.
Imagine without a tie, cut off, t-shirt. It's Sunday, though. Oh my God. Don't like
I got that
Anybody
picture,
care for
Bob.
refill?
I said that under stressful moments, like when we've got company coming or something, that they wonder what happens to the hair, you know? It's just a whirlwind hit it. So, but, anybody else? Okay. Well, we want you to know that we have a lot of little presents for you, like a picture. Photographer came out this morning, we had a lot of fun doing that.
It's not a little present.
That's a big present, I agree. It's something really special, and we have, I got a copy of every picture that he took, and we're gonna make it available for the store employees if they want one. We're gonna have some copies made, they're probably about $1 a piece, so if you want one, you let me know when I get back from vacation. And we got a t-shirt up there that we want everybody to sign if you haven't already signed it. And we have got the guest book up there. Please sign that before you leave so we'll have a record of everyone that's here. And we have something for Rhonda. Bobby, would you bring that plan up? It's Becky coming along and maybe more parties, who knows? Maybe something else happening in the next week. Well, I'm getting ready to go on vacation and I wanted to be a part of this, so we decided to have our first party here tonight. So I'm going to miss you. This has been the best year and a half of my life that I've been here with you. And I appreciate everything that you have gone out of your way to make sure that I've learned. I have just appreciated you so much. And I feel very, very fortunate to have worked with you last year and a half.
Very, very great pleasure. Very great pleasure.
Okay, the floor is yours.
All right. Y'all have hammered on me pretty hard tonight. Now I get to have my turn back. Get your pen and paper out. I can look around and tell some good stories. I'm not going to tell too many. But Shirley, you were really merciful to me tonight. And, you know, Shirley was one of the early people that I met when I first came to 615. And I introduced myself to her. She was in the back room, and it was November when I came, and it was cold back there. And I introduced myself to her. She said, I'm Shirley, and I'm cold. Forward, she became known as Shirley Cold. Well, that's only half the story. You know, her husband wanted to know why she was called Shirley Cold. He thought she was Shirley Hot. Mike Higginbotham, you haven't been with us very long, but I want to remind you about the tailgate that you thought needed painting. Paybacks can be held. But seriously, about last Wednesday, when I'd walk around the store, different people around the store had stopped me and had private things to say. Walked by the police department, and a particular person back there, there was no one else around, said, Mr. Perry, I want to tell you that every day when you come by making your rounds, you stop and speak to me, have a few words for me, and it's made me feel special. And no one else had ever done that for me, and I just want you to know how special it was. Today, when I opened up my desk, there was a card there from an individual. Just every day, different people stop me and say something personal. It's not, they're not saying it for anyone else's benefit, it's coming straight from their heart. And this last week, since I announced, that I was leaving, it has been the most meaningful week for me, because everyone has had such special things. It's been so special for me. I can't tell you how much I'm going to miss you. The store's been wonderful for me. The reason I'm going into business now is because y'all have given me the courage and the strength to help me grow, and I appreciate and love every one of you. Thank you for this send-off. I can't tell you how wonderful this is. It's special to me, and I've never had anyone do anything quite like this for me, and I really appreciate you. Hot Springs took the time to drive all the way up here. This director, Mr. Evans and wives, everybody. It's really special, and I appreciate you very much. Thank you.
Well, I told some of you that he calls this his dream, and I called it my nightmare. Because leaving Kroger is leaving security from me.
I've got one more thing here, and I'm going to help with that, Rhonda. I have got Bill Perry, owner of Mid-South Auto Brokers. I've got business cards here, so we'll all have one in our pocket.
I will tell you, I've been on vacation for a week. I drove a car off the lot, went to Colorado, visited some friends, went on to visit our daughter, and he sold the car I was driving. I had to fly but I didn't have to drive back to Kansas and Oklahoma.
Okay, I need a volunteer to pass these out. Tim, why don't you start on that half of the room? And Krista, can I get you to help? Let me start on that. Okay, well that's all we got, and we want to tell everybody how much we appreciate the turnout. This is fantastic. Usually 75 people say they're coming, and exactly half that number comes. Well, everybody came, and we appreciate you guys so much. It's great.
Thank you very much.
tell from the back though who's who. I'm not very good in person or in front of a group, but I just want to let you know I'm gonna miss you around the deli, you know. You followed me in so many places. Let's see, we first worked at 590 in Hot Springs. I left, and before too long you showed up. Well, are you gonna show up in Conway whenever I leave too? Well, I hope to see you, and good luck with your automobile business. Bye-bye, Mr. Perry.
Lenny, you have a good vacation. Thank you. Enjoy. Mr. Scott. Hey. You doing okay? We're good.
Can you get a picture of this? He was sitting here shredding.
me a drink. I was just over, and I got there, and they go, okay, just shut up. I'm like, you got to be kidding. I went up there, and I thought, yeah, they have that right. It was really scary. I was around my legs. Yeah. He went over in first.
Eating barbecue, onion flavored potato chips.
Yeah, and that pig went over, and then all of a sudden,
Sink it all.
he knew what to do with it. You sink it.
I was the second thing stuff on the next, you take the engine out of the boat before you sink it. Exactly.
By the way, I'm here doing.
Come on. No engine damage.
Nothing when Mr. Perry. Yeah, they're made for water.
Outside the trees.
Well,
The engine's underwater. Oh, wow.
it was totally wrong.
It's very much bad.
Thank you, Patsy, for coming. I appreciate you.
You're welcome.
Paper platter.
You're a good sister.
Oh, he hates paper. So I don't know why he goes and does somebody else. I tell you one, 5 nights.
$100 gift certificate. Oh, so much. Oh, sorry, did y'all not know what I got? I got with you. I didn't know. I did. So much. Don't cry. Thanks, Mom. Thanks for are you going to go like help the other, like the Oilers out next year?
The Oilers are not going to have tryouts next year. They're going to be hand-picked. But the 7th grade girls will be asked to come and help teach, I'm sure.
Yes.